are live.
Hello, welcome to the Revolutionary Blackout Network. I'm Afeni. I'll be hosting today's roundtable. We have Rome, we have Savvy, we have JB. So it's a super exciting panel. Thank you all for being here. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for coming in. But yeah. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different topics. We're going to bounce around a little bit, but it's going to be a really fun show. So I'm really excited to do it with you guys. But yeah, so first up, we're going to talk about Afghanistan, and I'm going to let JB read the science.
All right. Thanks a lot, Afeni. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I just wanted to give attention to an article that has been just came out today that I've seen online, and I think is going to be really interesting to you guys as well. This is actually about Afghanistan. I'm going to share my screen really quick so you guys can actually take a look-see here. Was that kind of corny of me to say look-see? Oh, well, whatever. I don't care. Okay, so this is from the Associated Press. It says, aid official. Wrong, really? God damn it.
It's my lawyer. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is from the Associated Press. It says, aid official. Afghanistan's crisis gets progressively worse. This is actually talking about what's going on in Afghanistan after the fallout from Biden's quote-unquote removal of forces from Afghanistan. It says in the first sentence, says Afghanistan is being hit by multiple crises that are progressively getting worse, with drought, economic collapse, and displacement, all pushing the population into catastrophic hunger, and a senior international aid official said Thursday. And so as we're talking and going into the winter months right now, what's going on is that because of what the United States has been doing as far as sanctions, that it is making it extremely difficult, and people are, on the verge of dying in Afghanistan because of the lack of money and resources that has been going on in the wake of the pulling out of Afghanistan. And I say pulling out very loosely because we still have drones flying over. So really, it's not really a pullout. It's just they're saying that they are while still doing bombings and surveillance in that country as well. Let me see. I wanted to get, here. It says, sanctions on the Taliban cut off hundreds of millions of dollars in international financing on which the government relied. Billions of dollars in Afghan assets abroad were frozen. Afghanistan's banking system was largely cut from the world. As a result, the government has been largely unable to pay its salaries, and jobs across the economy have disappeared. And also, it talks about a sad story. It says Lena, who brought her 3-month-old son Osman to the hospital, so she couldn't afford to feed her children. There's no work, and the economy has wrecked since the Taliban came. Everyone is out of work. So this is kind of serves like a twofold purpose, in my opinion. This serves as a purpose to make it seem like, well, maybe we should go back into, Afghanistan. I could just see the Biden administration saying we need to go back just for humanitarian purposes, but yet they're still trying to put boots on the ground. And so I just want to get the thoughts of everybody about this story. But before I do that, I just wanted to end with this. It says, with the cutoff of foreign financing, many health facilities around the country have also closed, making it more difficult for Afghans to get medical treatment. The UN has been drawing up plans to start paying salaries for medical workers who have not received pay for months and provide other support. So I want to start off with Afeni. If you can give me your thoughts on this story initially, just from hearing about what it's about.
Can we really be surprised when the U.S. so messily pulled out of Afghanistan with no real plan, no real strategy, and left them no infrastructure to really, continue their livelihoods on, without us actually providing real infrastructural support in the Middle East and especially in Afghanistan? Things like this are bound to happen, especially if we're going to continue to put brutal economic sanctions on, countries, but like without even rendering any aid to the country that we helped destroy. So we're going to destroy your country, destroy all the infrastructure, and then we're going to strangle your economy with sanctions. It's just, it's another form of war. And I think that until the United States actually takes like real full responsibility and full accountability for what happened in Afghanistan, and full accountability comes with physical aid, and not the Red Cross aid. I'm talking about give them a check and leave them alone. You know what I'm saying? Let them rebuild. Yeah. That's really the only thing that we're doing at this point. And it's just really, it's really disappointing to see that, there are so many people that have just really turned their back on this story and turned their back on, our terrible foreign policy and how it affects people's lives, that those people are real people. And those are people that we should care about. Those are people that we should support, because it is our government's fault that a lot of them are living in the conditions that they're living in now, or dealing with the things that they're dealing with now. And I just want to be very, very clear that the United States of America created and funded the Taliban through the Mujahideen and Osama bin Laden. Let's be very clear. So the same people that they're demonizing right now in all these articles are the same people that they were using to overthrow the communist government that was in Afghanistan in the 1970s. So it's not like they don't know who they're dealing with. It's not like they don't know, because these used to be y'all friends that y'all turned into y'all foes. So y'all can make it right, for real.
Yeah. The aftermath of sanctions. Sabi, what are your thoughts on this article?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, everything we touch abroad just seems to go to crap. Like literally, when I feel like, the mainstream media was praising Joe Biden for, he's pulling out of Afghanistan. And as we saw polling wise, the American people seem to feel differently, because that was when he started to like drop in the polls. And then he's been dropping ever since. So I think it was the way that he handled it. And also the fact that, and I've said this before, people kept saying, what about the women and the children? And I kept trying to explain to people it was never about protecting the women and the children, that women in Afghanistan actually had more freedom before the United States intervened. And I think what's important for people to know is that, and I've said this time and time again, every time we intervene in other countries to try to fix some type of conflict that they have going on, the people in those countries are worse off than they were before we intervened. And a perfect example of that is with not Desert Storm, Iraq. Perfect example, where when you think back to Saddam Hussein, like, yes, Saddam Hussein was a horrible dictator, not a good person. But what people don't realize is that when the United States intervened and they took Saddam Hussein out, that gave way to ISIS. So when Saddam Hussein was there, he was able to actually keep those groups in check. And so this is what happens when we get involved with things that really we should not get involved with. We should not be intervening in other countries. I don't agree with that. And I want to make it very clear to people too, for people who say that we're doing it to try to help the people in those countries. 9 times out of 10, we're not. We're usually involved because there's resources that we need, like oil or opium. I don't even know if I can say opium on here. Now I said it twice. But that's usually why we get involved. And we take resources from other countries, and then we get upset when those people want to come to the United States for a better life. So it is very much the United States' fault. That's my take on that.
Yeah. So, Josana, you have arrived while I was reading the article. I didn't catch if you got in, right as I was reading the article or right in the beginning. But from what you've been hearing, and from an internationalist perspective, someone who has lived internationally, what are your thoughts on the article that I just read? Or if you need me to clarify a little bit, I can do that for you.
I can get an idea of, and I was pointing at myself, and Sabi was like, so we don't, like, people come here for a better life. And I was like, oh, that's literally me.
Yeah.
So I have a few points that I took notes. So I'm going to call sanctions Cold War, because I was talking about that on Tuesday in the International Leftist Coalition, how the USA adopted models in the Orientalism way to portray itself to its own citizens and to the world.
Yeah.
And the Cold War model never ended. They are the sanctions. They are the sanctions that they, like, it's not with Russia. I mean, there is a competition, but the sanctions are war, right? Like, you expect, like, Biden, what he's doing is to look good for the liberals. I mean, right wingers. I said I'm not gonna curse when Savi's here. I'm gonna be polite. But what he's doing by expanding the sanctions is just to comply to his audience. It's just to look good to his audience. Like, the liberals, the right wingers, everybody that's like seduced by his figure, to say like, oh, I'm the hero, I'm ending wars, look at me, I'm so nice. No, dude, you expanding sanctions, you're killing people by starvation, because literally that's what it is. We have a little bit of the situation going with truck drivers here, and we can't get access to many things, and we're already like desperate. That's what Biden is doing to the world right now. That's what Biden is doing to Afghanistan. And there is the need, and with the stories like this, we see how urgent is the need for an international leftist coalition, an international alliance, where we learn as Americans how to look to the other. Because here in this country, I'm saying we, but like, you guys don't understand what I'm saying. Here in this country, we were propagandized into life, right? We were propagandized to believe that things are fine if I work hard and I buy my car and I get my mortgage. Things are just fine. And they are actually not fine. They are actually not fine. So when we put our eyes outside of the borders and we practice empathy, we are able to see, no, it's not fine. We know where the source is. And now we need to get together in order to change it. We need to end this world the way it is in order to give birth to a new one where we are the people in power, all of us, the people, right? We, the people, like in y'all's constitution. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Rome, I see you looking over there like Stevie Wonder. Just to, same question to ribbon in the sky. Your thoughts on, as far as the sanctions, from your perspective, what are your thoughts on this article?
I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible to read. It's horrible to see that these things are actually, like, I'm old enough to see these things play out in front of me, because I remember us actually going to war in Afghanistan when I was a child. Now I get to see what happens when we pull out, but we don't even know, what the future actually holds. Like, we know that children are being born with 3 eyes, 4 legs, and stuff like that. But this is just the start of all those things, and the sanctions don't do anything. It don't. Come on, man. It's just you basically just put your hands around someone's neck who can't fight back against you're choking out a paraplegic, or I should say. Because at this point, we have robbed them of everything, even their drugs, the poppy seeds. We robbed them of territory. We put, if we not on boots on the ground over there, we have military bases over there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I really feel like they're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to be, they're going to run their government how they want. You know what I'm saying? America's going to run how they want, but us as people, like Josana and Afeni are telling you guys, we're going to be the ones who's going to have to push back. So if you like, when you see articles that's telling you how good sanctions is, because we don't have people, we don't have clinics out there anymore like we used to. We don't have help out there like we used to. Just point out all them other articles that show them children getting bombed and how much damage that we actually do. You know what I'm saying? Don't fall for it, and don't let the people around you fall for it. Even if they do, always tell the truth. If they don't take it in at that moment, it is what it is. But as long as you are out there fighting against this propaganda, that these capitalists are feeding you. You know what I'm saying? These weapon contractors. That's all it is. All it is. And paying these motherfuckers to write these articles. Don't let them lie to you.
Yeah.
It's all horrible. And we just really seeing the beginning stages of what these bombs are going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I defer to the words of the great Michael Parenti, where he said, "There is no such thing as a poor country. There are only overly exploited countries." So when you think about Afghanistan, you think about the oil and the opium primarily that they have. So you think about one of the reasons why, we have these wars there is because you have, pharmaceutical companies like Purdue that create these, opiates so that they can be able to feed them to us, so that they can be able to drug us up. So then, they make more profit. But in order to make that, they have to be able to get the opium. So then they have to give, they have to push the military industrial complex to go, hey, go over there and make sure that we can get that opium over there in that country. And we doesn't matter if, it belongs to that people over there. We're going to just take it because we can do that. And so that's what they do over there. And so they're basically, as many of us are taking these opiates for pain, and sometimes we desperately need them, but at the cost of people who are dying in those countries because of what the United States, does in those countries due to imperialism. So it's crazy, how the whole cycle works. A cycle of imperialism that tends to affect every single aspect of our lives. And it's just heartbreaking to see. Anybody have any final thoughts on this story at all?
I just want to respond to that question. Why would we steal from a poor country? Listen, even the idea that these countries are poor, I come from a so-called poor country, even the idea that these countries are poor is propaganda. We are not poor, otherwise your asses wouldn't be there. US would not look to go invade and steal a poor country.
Yeah, exactly.
These countries are rich in resources, natural resources, and everything. Like the reason why US is stealing is because they're stealing resources. Mm-hmm. These countries are rich in petroleum. These countries are rich in water. It was just the fact that in Brazil, it was discovered a river 3 or 5 times bigger than the Amazon River. Is under the Amazon River. Subterranean, is that the word?
Subterranean, yeah.
Thank you. Under the Amazon River and the pre-salt, which is an unlimited source of petroleum. And then the Workers' Party that was in power, it was holding back because they wanted the royalties to be invested in education and public health. Mm-hmm. For us to suffer a coup d'etat. And now we got Bolsonaro, a dictator that do this to Trump when he sees him. So think again, critical thinking. Why would we steal from a poor country is another way to ask that question. Yeah. The answer is it's not poor.
Yeah. Remember, Saul, that I quoted Michael Parenti. He said, there's no such thing as a poor country, only exploited countries. What does that mean? That means exactly what Josana just said. They have resources, and so that country goes over there and extracts the resources for personal gain, for the gain of corporations, so that they can actually continue to create more profit. They don't want to deal in a fair way with these countries because then that means that there's less profit for them to get. So therefore, they also contribute to a wage slavery in these other countries, because if they have people working in those mines and working in those fields, then they are working for slave wages. So guess what? They're repeating the entire slavery model all over again. That has, my answer has been here due to capitalism. So it's the same exact thing. Did you want to add on to this, either Afeni, Rome, or Sabi?
All I was going to say is that's why when you see people get some people get so angry. They're like, why are all these migrants at the border? Why are they trying to get in illegally? And it's because, like, if someone is willing to make that journey, a journey that is dangerous for them to make, where they could lose their lives, that tells you the situation where they are living is that bad. And everybody, like, a lot of people want to like push them out and say, well, no, they shouldn't come here. They got to go by the proper process and paperwork. But you have to try to put yourself in their shoes, because the reality is, if it was you and your children and you were dealing with the same things that people are dealing with in Haiti, in Colombia, you would try to do anything that you could so that your kids could have a better life. And I think that's how we need to start looking at things, like sometimes just putting ourselves in other people's shoes. But for someone to make that journey, that just goes to show you how bad it is in their country. And the United States is usually the reason for that.
I find it how ironic it is that these people don't want, people to come over illegally, but they still hang up pictures of their founding fathers of this godforsaken country. But it is what it is. I really don't care, because I'm in favor of open borders. I'm in favor of whatever the hell would tumble America, and if that would piss y'all off, so be it. So fucking be it.
Yeah, so thank you so much, JB, for hosting for the first story. I'm gonna go ahead and take over for the second one. So we're just gonna make a little pivot here, going from the world's police, which is the U.S. military, to the regular U.S. police, because it's the same fucking thing, just micro and macro, as all the academics like to say. But yeah, so there has been a large conversation in the past week about defund the police that I find to be a little random, not gonna lie. But I think it really started with Brianna Joy Gray last week having an interview with Ben Jealous, and Ben Jealous, he says what all liberals say. I wanted to show y'all the clip. Honestly, I just want to show y'all the clip. But yeah, hold on. There we go.
Show the clip. Show the clip.
Here you go. Here it is.
To really pursue a solution. You see it with the mess that's been created in our cities by just putting out, this notion, defund the police, without putting out, and then what? Like, really, and then what?
Well, but you just opened up a whole can of worms.
I'll go there.
Let's do it. Here we go. Because the abolitionists will say they have plenty of plans and scholarship about what this looks like. There was
How do you call yourself an abolitionist these days, honestly, if you've never abolished anything? Like I've led successful campaigns to abolish the death penalty in multiple states in one, and the juvenile death penalty as a whole. I know what it takes to abolish something. These people call themselves abolitionists, and they disgrace the notion even of anti-slavery abolitionists, because they don't actually have a vision, a practical vision for what replaces it.
Have you not been following, let's say, that's
nigga the feds.
I really want to just break this down. You see what I'm saying? I want to break this down. How do we not have a plan when for decades, not even just me as an abolitionist, not even Miriam Kaba, Andrea Ritchie, Professor Paul Butler, all of these people, but for decades, there have been people, ancestors, that have been talking about what it looks like to move towards a care economy, move towards a society in which we are not being brutalized by the police. And what that looks like, it looks like resources, because the safest communities in America don't have more police. They have more resources. They have more money. They have more drug intervention programs. Okay, they have more college tutoring, SAT tutoring. They have that. You see what I'm saying? They have language immersion. Just because, you know what I'm saying? They have sports. They have community centers. They have parks, fields. What the fuck else do you need? Are you joking? Like, people have literally laid it out letter by letter what it looks like to not be terrorized in your communities. And you want to know how we know it's possible? Because white people that live above the poverty line live that fucking experience every goddamn day. So it's possible that we don't have to have a world where we're being brutally attacked and surveilled and shipped down and stolen from by an entity that is said to protect us. If the police are so protective, then how come 1 in 1,000 black men can expect to be shot in the back by them if they're protecting and serving? What exactly is a protection? Where's that at? Right now in this country, 1 in 2 children that are under the age of 6 are food insecure. But you're talking about defund the police is a ridiculous policy? I think child poverty is a ridiculous fucking policy, because policy is a poverty. I mean, poverty is a policy decision. I think that shit is terrible policy for kids to be starving. I think it's terrible policy for people to be out on the street. We don't have housing first in this country. We don't have housing first programs. But for some reason, NYPD needs $11 billion fucking dollars. Are you joking? If the American police force was a military, it would be the 3rd largest military in the world. That's normal to y'all? Yes, defund and abolish and dismantle the police. Goodbye. Goodbye. There are so many countries that are doing it better than us. Like, stop playing. Stop playing. It's not like they do not care about the black community. Because at the end of the day, they sit up here talking about how the reason why we can't defund the police is because think about all the black grandmas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So you're telling me that my grandma would rather have her son be shot in the back than maybe him have, I don't know, a culinary arts program that he could have access to, of some vocational programs?
I went to culinary.
Maybe, you don't think that maybe she would want some drug intervention in her neighborhoods? Because, the police were supposed to be doing that. But then we found out that the police were actually trafficking the cocaine and the crack into our neighborhoods. So then it was like, damn, well, what the fuck are y'all doing if it's not just protecting property and terrorizing us? What the fuck are y'all doing other than stealing from us and shooting us in our beds and shooting our 7-year-old children while they sleep? Tatiana Jefferson, by the way. What exactly are y'all doing? But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get that mad, but hearing him say it all over again just pissed me off.
That's understandable.
Anyway, y'all. But yeah, anybody else take it real fast.
If they want the police, they can have the police in their motherfucking neighborhoods. Don't have them in our neighborhoods. We don't need them. We don't want them. And this is how it goes. You can look at the facts. Look at all the facts you want. They don't solve murders. They don't solve rapes. They don't solve. Can I say that? They don't solve none of the stuff that they're supposed to. And it goes, you know what I'm saying? It just goes to cold cases. Yeah. Not because I'm not even gonna say because they're lazy. A lot of them be doing that shit themselves, and they be saving them. They be saving their buddies. They be saving their departments. They know, you know what I'm saying, who did what. Just like we know who did what, and we can police each other better than they police our neighborhoods and themselves. We don't need somebody who come from a different neighborhood, different background, whatever, to come to our neighborhood and tell us how we should live, what side of the other street we should walk on. That's not how it works. But if y'all want the police, if y'all want police, go ahead, let them have the tanks in y'all goddamn neighborhoods where you can walk your poodles and you can pick up your poop and your fucking shit bags and shit like that. You're not gonna want it. You're not gonna want the police having the police come to your neighborhoods, coming to your liquor stores with vest on. You don't want to see it, right? Right? But you want to treat us like animals. Because that's what y'all look at us like, right? Like I explained this before. Y'all look at us like animals, and the police are the zookeepers who not only keep us in line, but keep us segregated. Because I can't cross them city lines looking like this. I better throw on my suit. That's what y'all want. That's how y'all look at us. Because if we're looking at it, what is it? Over 80% of murders in Jacksonville, Florida go unsolved. 70% here in Detroit. But they get more money than public education. For what? The job that you have done does not justify your pay. It don't even justify your immunity, none of that. So like I said, fuck you, fuck the police. If you want them, you can have them. Go ahead, give them $300 billion. Drop them off in the burbs. But we don't need them. We never needed them. Who are you going to call when somebody breaking your house? My cousin Ray Ray. My cousin Ray Ray.
I'm going to call my family before I call you motherfuckers, I promise you.
Every time, because you niggas going to come in here, I'm going to call. If I'm out of town and somebody breaking in my house and I say, hey, somebody broke in my house, I need a wellness check, blah, 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 whatever. They're going to come and shoot my family or shoot the cat or shoot the dog or shoot everybody that I didn't tell them to shoot. Like they always do. Because they come in here with that, oh my God, everybody's a threat because they don't know us. Because they don't come from here. They don't bleed like us. So they come in here, vest on, all type of gun. You got a gun, a baton, pepper spray, a fucking taser, and the first thing you go for is the gun and you shoot everybody dead because you're scared. If you're scared, go to church, but don't come here. Like I said, y'all want them police officers, y'all can have their asses. We don't need them. We never needed them. I don't even remember the last time I even called their asses. And the last time we did call them, what they did, they take down the name. Oh, we do something. Never hear from them again. So whatever. Fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck y'all. Fuck old boy that's balding. Whatever. It is what it is.
We're gonna need a swearing jar. We're gonna need a swearing jar.
Hey, we're not monetizing. I'm going off.
No, like, and it's crazy because y'all are so scary, but almost half of the people that the police shoot have at least one disability. So what the hell are you so scared of? What are you so fearful of? Stop playing, bro. Stop playing. But I'll go ahead, Seb.
I had this conversation with Garland Nixon last night, and I was surprised because he believes in taking the money away and put it into Black communities. He is not for the phrase. He's not for the phrase defund the police. And so we talked about this last night. I think JB was in the chat for a little bit last night. And it was really interesting because some people agreed with him. Some people agreed with me. And I think that's the thing about bringing someone on that doesn't necessarily agree with you. But one of the things that I noticed is like, that's probably my 7th time watching that video of Ben Jealous. And every time I watched it, I just got more like, oh my God, I can't with this guy. But one of the things that we talked about was who are the police that should come into certain communities. So Garland Nixon, for those who don't know, used to be a police officer. He also used to be on Fox News. He has a radio show, bunch of other things. But he was saying that he feels that in Black neighborhoods, the police that come in should be Black police officers. But what is happening is you have a lot of white police officers going to police in Black communities where they don't know the people who live there. They don't know the community. They overreact to situations that they don't need to overreact to. And so instead of being seen as someone who will protect the community, they're seen as a threat because they are. And so there's a lot of things that need to change, I think, with law enforcement. I told him last night, I don't believe that police can be reformed. We already have police reforms. Body cams was a part of police reforms, and police officers turned them off because there's no accountability, because we still have qualified immunity. So it's the system that is the problem. And that's what people have to understand. It's not this police officer or that police officer. It's the entire system. So if you can't reform the system and police officers only solve 0.02% crime, so they're not really solving any crimes, hardly, do we really need police? And if you say no, well, then tear it down and build something new. We should not have police officers responding to mental health situations. They don't know how to handle it. They're not trained for that. They should not respond to traffic stops because they can't even make a simple traffic stop and give someone a speeding ticket without assuming, especially if it's a Black man, without assuming that they're a threat, that they have a gun, that they're going to kill them. They overreact when they come into contact with Black people and when they come into Black communities. And I've seen it. Ben Jealous talks about Baltimore. The old ladies at the church in Baltimore are afraid of defunding the police. So this is a generational thing too. And JB, you brought this up to me last night. We have a generational problem here because if you talk to a lot of younger Black people, we don't have a problem with this. It seems to be that it's the older generation that doesn't want this to happen. And the way I kind of look at it is if you're afraid to defund the police because you're afraid that crime is going to get worse, you need to ask yourself, why is the crime so bad there to begin with? And the crime, I can speak for Baltimore personally, the crime in Baltimore is so bad because of the poverty situation in Baltimore. Baltimore has been, the last time I went to Baltimore to visit my family, it looked like somebody actually just demolished buildings and just said, live in this. They don't try to rebuild anything. When they do build new things, they price it so high that the average person who grew up there can't afford to live there. So then you have the problem of gentrification. But in order to fix this, you have to fix the poverty problem. And that's something that is not being solved through electoral politics. So when you see people like Rome and Afeni doing mutual aid, those are things that are needed because no matter who you vote in office, whether they're blue, red, or whatever, they're not solving the poverty problem. And if you don't solve that, you're not going to solve the crime issue and you're not going to solve the issue of being over policed. That's my take on that.
Them old niggas too full of propaganda. But you can go ahead. I'm sorry, Josiah.
Once again, go ahead.
I was just thinking about like police in the US were slave catchers, right? That's the origins. They still are. It's clear. By now, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's funny to think that defunding the police is just like if you ask them to work voluntarily, in my way to see it, we will still have white supremacists volunteering to kill Black people. The problem is racism, and it's clearly a problem. And who Jello's who I don't know that person, and I'm so happy and glad I don't even know.
He lost
that
his bid for governor in Maryland to Larry Fat Ass Hogan. Please Google, just a quick Google. Please.
I will. I just want to say, are you mad because we say abolish the police? So let me give him another sentence to be way more angry at me. I say abolish the USA, brother. I say abolish the USA, my guy. This shit is wrong from the beginning to the end. Abolish the USA. It's not even a real country, just like Israel, right? It's not even real. It's in stolen land. Abolish it. Stolen land with kidnapped people that kills, rapes, invades, and everywhere in the world. So abolish the USA. Let's start abolishing the police here. It's a good step.
So just to give a little bit of some receipts to Ben Jealous. You say that abolitionists don't have a plan. Abolitionists don't have a plan, really. They don't have a plan?
Not at all. Know, our prisons obsolete exists as well. And how we do this till we free us will also exist as well.
Okay. So they don't have a plan. As I'm scrolling, they don't have a plan. Keep telling me they don't have a plan. I'm going down the third one. They don't have a plan. If you keep scrolling, for some reason, they don't have a plan. I just don't get it. Why? They don't have a plan. Oh my goodness, 6, 7. They don't have a plan. What is it? So here's my thing. So, and please, if you'll indulge me right now. If I am a 16, 17-year-old boy, I don't have the possibility of getting an actual job. The rent is due, and I get paid every 2 weeks, and it doesn't cover the rent entirety because they have to have all the money up front. I don't have enough money to help feed the people in my family. And then somebody comes up to me with a job opportunity, and they say, here, take this brick, cut it up into pieces, carry it in your backpack, and then I want you to sell it for so much per person, right? Stand on that street corner and then sell it. And then I'll give you a piece of the cut, which will cover your food, your rent, and all the other things. And you can even have a little extra to go see Spider-Man. I don't know, whatever. Okay? What makes you think that that kid is not going to go out and do that because they're in poverty? See, here's the thing that people like Ben Jealous don't get. Why do people commit crimes? It is one of two things: crimes of poverty, it's crimes of crimes of opportunity, and crimes of desperation. And so when you are pushed to that point, then of course that you have to resort to drastic methods in order to survive. If you take those drastic methods away, and then you replace it with something productive and give them resources, then of course, then they are not going to be turning to these different things. I'll give you a point. Why don't police have to go into middle or upper middle class neighborhoods as much? You don't need to police a well-provided, well-resourced neighborhood because they do not commit those crimes. If they do commit those crimes, it gets covered up, which it shouldn't. But mainly the crimes that go on in places like our neighborhoods is really out of desperation. Take away the desperation and you get rid of crime. And this is the point that they don't want. Because then if you attack the solution, the underlying problem, it automatically gets rid of the police. Because once you start giving people the resources that they need, there'll be no more need for them. And then guess what? People will start mentally, it affects them. Physically, it affects them in positive ways. And so then they'll start looking at the people who's in charge. Wait a minute. We're feeling a lot better. We don't need y'all. And so therefore, the police, why are the police there? The police are there primarily to protect capital and property. That's the only reason why they exist. So if you get rid of them, guess what? The barrier between capital and property is gone. It's gone. And so guess what that gives us the opportunity to do? Take back what is owed to, bingo, us. And this is what they do not want. So therefore, defund the police is really a threat to the power of the establishment. And guess what? People like Ben Jealous is one of the people who goes, no, we don't want to do that. If we do that, then all these bad things will happen. My grandma, she doesn't want to defund the police. Your grandma was also still one of the same people that was for, actually, not his particular grandma, but older Black people were for the 94 crime bill. Why? Because they were propagandized too. And so guess what? They were propagandized. So guess what? We gotta get that out of their brain too. We gotta clean that brainwashing out. So this is one of the reasons why defund the police is, number one, a great slogan, because it sparks debate. And then people start to realize what is the purpose of police. And then they find out police are shit because they only solve 2% of crimes, which means 98% of all the crimes that get committed are not solved. And then 250,000 rape kits are sitting in the police departments right now that are untested. Imagine how many men, women, and non-binary people have been raped. And how many of them actually have been raped by police officers? I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess he said what I was gonna say, because somebody was like, "What about the murderers and the rapists?" We're gonna have a check and a balance on things, of course.
Yeah, True.
But there's no reason to over police people. Like people always want to bring up, black people is locked up for all the things and all of this and that. Like, no, yeah, we're locked up, but we're not charged. That's called over policing.
Yeah.
You know, but I guarantee if we was to actually, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's all I gotta say.
So
But it's gonna
also
be a check and balance.
to also respond to the whole rapists and murderers thing. So every abolitionist, and I learned this specifically from Professor Paul Taylor, all abolitionists say that there's always going to be the dangerous few, that small population of people that have mental health problems that are a danger to themselves and to other folks. Those people need mental health treatment. They do not need to be incarcerated. Okay, there's a difference. There's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just think that, you know, to reduce it down to just violent crime is just, it's just a slap in the face to all the political prisoners that are in jail right now for nonviolent drug offenses, that are all for the people that have maybe they did rob somebody, you know what I'm saying, that were affected by not only a struggling socioeconomic system, that a lot of them also had to deal with the issues that drugs pose in our communities as well. When you have a mandatory minimum and you can get locked up off of some short shit for the rest of your life, so now your father is out of the house for the rest of your life and for the rest of his life. Like, come on now, bruh. Like, there are real systemic reasons why we say the things that we say. There are real systemic reasons why we're like, hey, you know, we need to defund and abolish the police. The American prison system is legalized slavery. So yes, these motherfuckers are slave catchers. They're collecting our bodies to put into the system to give free labor to Victoria's Secret, to California and all of its millions of license plates, to fighting all of these wildfires for free when we can't be firefighters outside of that space. Motherfuckers in there making jewelry, textiles, clothes. Stop playing in our faces. When we say defund the police, it's because this is not working. The prison system, the police do not deter crime. You know what does deter crime, though? Solving poverty. Because crime is a socioeconomic problem. You know what solves crime? I don't know. Maybe fixing the racist infrastructure that's in a lot of the Black communities. And, you know, their water's being poisoned with lead. And everybody knows what happens when niggas get on the lead. You see what I'm saying? We know some of us know people that got the lead poisoning. You see what I'm saying? This is a problem that the government needs to fix. And you're not going to fix it by over policing us. You're not going to fix it by shooting disabled people in their backs, by the way. So since we're on the topic and before JB has to go, I just really want to make sure that, you know, we see this is an ongoing problem with the police. This is not something that we're just saying.
Yeah, definitely. So I got to get going in a minute. But I just wanted to. What the fuck?
For shoplifting, bro.
That man in that wheelchair looked so dangerous and threatening that they had to shoot him that many times.
Look at that brave
officer.
He feared for his life.
Monsters,
and he had to shoot a man in a wheelchair.
I have the name of the pig.
Going 5
The
miles
name
per
of the
hour
pig is Ryan Remington. The name of the pig, again, Ryan Remington. I'm gonna write because my English is not good. So,
but that's that slippery scope that these motherfuckers are on. Death sentence for shoplifting. That's that slippery slope that you want to talk about. Oh, well, if you want to protect these buildings, if you think that property, you know what I'm saying, is more than a human life, that's that slide that you're sliding down right now. That's that mentality that that police officer had. God damn. Over what, a bag of chips, a piece of meat, candy, what? Something that helped me live throughout the day? Like, God damn. And you just took my life.
The nuclear football. Was he stealing the nuclear football? Was he shoplifting the nuclear codes? Then what the fuck?
Maybe the president was in there and he had a little knife or something. He was, I don't know. I don't understand it.
I haven't seen that video yet before.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's my first time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jamie.
I'm so sorry.
Yo.
They're gonna take him, and the fucked up thing is they're gonna take him off the force, but his gun gonna be on. They're gonna take him off the streets, but his gun's still gonna be on the force. His gun's still gonna have a job, and his gun gonna be around to kill.
Yo, so, yeah. As somebody who is disabled, what the fuck was that?
Get rid of these people.
What in the? Are you kidding me right now? You're shitting me right now. Yo, when we actually say defund the police, this is what we're talking about. There's absolutely no reason. Oh, he may have had a knife. So what? What was he stealing? I don't care if he had a $40 lobster tail. Let it go. His life was not worth that. You don't kill somebody over minuscule, meaningless bullshit. And his life was already hard because he's disabled and he gets overlooked. You have a man that is overlooked in society all his life, or at least to the point where he had to be in that wheelchair. And then, because out of desperation and because out of lack of opportunity, he decided to steal some food, and you want to kill him over it? The police are fucked up. And this is one of the reasons why people like Awkward and Zoya and Nick have helped create 10 Demands, which I am very grateful for. Because you have no regard for life. Life is not precious to you if you do things like that. I gotta go. Because that is. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go. No.
Bye, JB.
All right, see y'all. I love y'all. Take care, everybody.
I'm gonna let y'all ladies have this for 10 minutes. I gotta go. I'm getting yelled at. I'll be right back.
An assassination of a man in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And he was shot on his back 8 times.
If you're just trying to subdue a suspect,
Ryan.
If you're just trying to subdue a suspect 8 times, that doesn't seem a little excessive. You don't think you did a little too much, girly? Just a little? Okay.
Also, like, what was that man going to do to the police officer?
Run over his foot, I guess. Maybe. Maybe. They said he had a knife. His wingspan is how long? You see that? Like, are you joking? Are you joking? 9 times. 9 times. And so, like, you know, it's very upsetting, you know, because people are spending so much time talking about the messaging, talking about the message. Like, how are you saying this slogan to make it, you know, accessible and understandable to all these other people? Like, how are you going to make everybody else understand it? It's not about all the people that don't fucking get it. Okay? Like, At what point are we going to get to a society where we just do the right fucking thing? Because it's the right fucking thing to do. As a middle-aged, middle-class white woman that lives in the suburbs, you're a soccer mom. You have your orange slices in your pack here. All your kids getting the hell on your nerves in the back. Apple juice is all up in the middle console. You are pissed off right now. You don't think you should worry about that? You fucking worried about the police that's in Baltimore City getting defunded? You're worried about the police in Minneapolis, where you don't live, getting defunded. You're worried about the police in the nation's capital getting defunded, where you do not live. Ma'am. And to all of the people that are spending more time debating the efficacy of this policy demand as a slogan, instead of just talking about what it actually means to divest from a system of violence and invest in human infrastructure that makes the material living conditions in this country better. We're talking about an investment in social services that all of you white folks have access to, and even elite Black people have access to. You should not have to pay for safety. I'm sorry. I should not have to make $60,000. What? I'm probably not $6,000. Wow, that just showed how broke I am. I should have to make fucking $90,000 to $100,000 a year to get some semblance of safety as a person in this country. I should be able to walk into my hospital and get drug intervention just like we could out in Anne Arundel County, where I used to live and where I grew up at. Them motherfuckers, they were ODing left and right, but guess what? There was drug intervention at the local hospital. They had drug intervention counseling. They had groups at the local community centers. What?
Oh, I know Anne Arundel County. I know where that is. Yeah, that's a nice area.
KKK capital of Maryland, by the way.
Yeah,
The mentality that we need to be controlled like cattle. The mentality that we need to be surveilled. This is like, that's why I say abolish the USA, because it's abolished the empire. The whole mentality needs to change. We are free when we are organized in communities by ourselves. We know our needs. We don't need to feed these kind of demons. We don't need to pay for them to exist. We don't need to pay taxes so we can feed politicians that will like to be in power. And that will do that to us, which is killing. We just watched a man in a wheelchair get shot. And I'm sorry, Rome tells me to go head first, but I can't. He got shot 8 times in his back in a wheelchair. Not in the fucking streets burning this motherfucker to the fucking ground. What are we gonna do? And we are dead inside if we are not burning with hate and sadness right now. Called Ryan, disclosure his race. Disclosure of Ryan's race. Black. Because they were sold as motherfucker, sold to the system, just like that bitch that we saw talking to Bree. We need to change that. Because this is every day in the favelas in Brazil. And that's why there was a sentence saying every 23 minutes there is a George Floyd in Brazil, because that's what the police does, and they kill children. So it's just that, like,
I didn't mean to cut you off, Josana, but it went in and out. So my bad. I didn't mean to say nothing over you. So my bad. But no, I was just gonna say, like, hey, Ben, I know we're gonna see each other at this Black Voters Matter rally in a couple days. My bad. Not really, but my bad. Anyway. But you know, Science, I don't know if you have anything to add.
I mean, it just kind of remind me of like what Professor Wolf said about when you look at other countries, when they have these types of injustice happen, the people take to the streets, and not just like 100 people, hundreds of people rise up and take to the streets. They did it in France. And so listening to Josana, like that's what it reminds me about, that like here in America, it really is about the individual. And we need to change that. And it's a problem here. We have no sense of community. None. Half the times, like we live next door to people for years, we don't even know who they are. And at one point, my parents told me at one point it wasn't always like this in this country. When they were growing up, everybody like knew each other in the community. So if your parents weren't watching over you, your neighbors were watching over you. If you did something you weren't supposed to do and your parents weren't around, your neighbor already would let your parents know before you got home. So they had a stronger sense of community. You knew the people around you. You trusted the people around you. We don't have that anymore in this country. It's become all about the individual. And when I listen to Josana speak, you know, it's a reminder to me that we have a lot of selfishness here. And she's right. Like we should all be out in the streets. Like this guy just got shot like 8 times in his back and he's in a wheelchair. And we just don't, we have to, I think in this country, we have to work on building community and being in community with people and not being just so siloed. It's so like really, I don't know how people who move to this country by themselves with no family, I don't know how they do it here. Like if you're coming from a place where community is like a big thing and really strong, some of my students that are from India, they've expressed this to me as well. They're like, there's no sense of no community here. It's just like you all on your own. And I was like, welcome to America. Because it's true. You really don't. There's just nothing. So I think that's important. And who knows if that guy had any family? Who knows if he had any friends? Who knows, right?
I don't know. I feel like we're so desensitized to seeing what the police do, that, you know, people just, I don't know. Like I'm just so, I'm disgusted, truly, because it's just like people that can defend this system or say like, oh, this can be reformed or this can be fixed. Like, how? Because the police and prisons, that was the liberal reform to what we was doing before. That was a liberal reform. We're seeing now that it doesn't work. We have a 48% recidivism rate in America. There are lots of reasons why we just shouldn't. We spend $48,000 per person to incarcerate people in this country. That's tax dollars, by the way. So not only are you murdering people out on the street, but then we are allowing these body snatchers to take people and incarcerate them as well. Incarceration, especially for life, you might as well be dead. For real. You might as well be dead. And it's fucked up because we should be out in the street. We should be standing in solidarity, not only with people that get shot by the police, but by the people that are still being terrorized by correctional officers and by the prison system right now. Because this is going to continue to happen if we don't change our strategies and also look back to see what they were doing before to try to actually combat this system, the shit that was actually shaking these motherfuckers up. It's not enough to just be in the street marching and chanting. And don't get me wrong, y'all, I'm an activist first. I was an activist first, and then I learned how to be an organizer. You know what I'm saying? I love marching and chanting in the street and making noise and getting on people's nerves and fucking up traffic. That shit cool. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like, and now what? Here's one place that I will agree with Ben Jealous on. We don't have a now what. The now what needs to be invest in our communities, or we're going to do a general strike. Invest in our communities, or we're running special elections in all of your districts. Invest in our communities, or we gonna start defending ourselves against government tyranny because it's our right to do so. But there needs to be an and or. You know what I'm saying? Because we can no longer allow for people to be murdered by the police. We can no longer allow for people to be snatched by the police and put into the prison system to produce cheap and free labor for this economy. We cannot allow that. And there's just one more thing that I wanted to show just for context. But you know, I'm tired of having the debates, especially on the left, about what we should be doing. Any leftist that is not talking about, and Breonna Joy Gray did, Breonna Joy Gray's tweet, why are we criticizing as leftists? Why? Why are we not explaining? Why are we not teaching? Why are we not educating? Because we should be advocating for our policies, not cutting them off at the knees. They keep blaming, oh, defund. The police have been shooting people. MPD, the Metropolitan Police Department, that gets $543 million per year of our tax money, federal, out of, from NDC, they've shot 9 people. I think it's 10 or 11 now, actually, because they shot somebody this week. So it's not defund the police. We haven't defunded the police. The Democrats suck because they suck. And because the things that we asked for aren't being done. And our communities are still being terrorized. People are still being shot. That is why. That is the issue. And that's the only conversation we need to be saying. That's the only conversation we need to be having at this point. That's the only discourse I want to participate in, is how to actually how to advocate for the things that we say that we want. We're not arguing around the margins anymore. I'm tired of that. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the conversation. But Rome, you're back now.
Yeah. I'm damn, nigga. Man, what I was just saying to JB, y'all, man, y'all are born to be leaders, but a tough act to follow. Like, how the fuck do I supposed to say? Okay, I don't know how I'm supposed to come after that. But I saw somebody say, we are afraid we'll get hurt if we go into the streets. But you're gonna get hurt if you go into the streets. That's a big chance. You're gonna get hurt if you're not in the streets. We have, documentation of people just walking. Do you remember when there was that protest going on the East Coast and that woman just got shot in her face when she was walking with her child? Like, you can just be outside of it. You don't have to be a part of it. She probably didn't even believe. She probably liked the police until that happened, But people are going to get hurt, whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else. And sometimes you're going to have to build a wall around your people, around the disabled, like we should have been protecting that man. I just looked it up. He was accused of stealing a toolbox. Yeah. So sometimes it's going to take for us to take those L's, to get hurt, to put ourselves out there and on the front lines in order to protect and so we can actually have a future for these generations that's living up under us. Like, if we are living like this, if the police is like this up under us in our generations, and we are giving billions and billions of dollars to them, imagine how the police are going to look in 20 years. Come on now. But that's all I have to say, man. But you are going to get hurt. So don't get out here thinking that you're going to just be out here getting photo ops and shit like that. Like, no, that's just the, you know, a lot of activists try to keep those, you know, those parts out of it because it's not attractive, and you know, it turns some people off, it turns some people to it, but you're gonna get hurt or you're gonna get stalked. FBI, CIA, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're on your head. So do what you have to do for your people and make sure nothing like this ever happens again.
Yeah, I just, you know, as somebody that's been in the street, as somebody that's been, you know, I've been doxxed, I've been arrested, I've been like, I just got off papers a couple weeks ago, I think. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it happens. You know, we live in a white supremacist country that has violently overthrown every single communist government that they have seen over the past 100 years. That's just the reality. Of course, they're going to respond in a way that is not comfortable. Let's just call it. Let's say it like that. They're counting on our fear of that in order to keep abusing us. We're already in pain. We're in economic pain. We have, like, motherfuckers can't afford healthcare. If you have insurance, let me know how much you had to pay out of pocket for an emergency medical procedure that you had to get. If your child can afford lunch, lucky for you, but there are children with lunch debt in our country. People are being strangled by student loan debt in our country. Like I said earlier, 1 in 2 children under the age of 6 is living in squalor, poverty, starving. Is that not violence? So because the state is threatening us, we're supposed to just lay down and take that shit? That's what they're counting on. That's what they're counting on. No. If the only way that we can be safe is if we come out in mass numbers. Because I can tell y'all, the only time the police started to get really, really unchy is when there was about 30 or 40 of us, maybe 50 of us. That's when you would see the kettles. That's when people's legs would get broken. That's when motherfuckers getting shot in the eye with tear gas canisters. You know what I'm saying? But if there's 100 of us, 200 of us, 300 of us, 400 of us, 1,000 in the streets, I can tell y'all right now, them dumbass motherfuckers never know what to do. They never know what to do. They're not expecting us to actually rise up and keep it like that. They don't have a plan for that. That's why you saw President Trump had military all over the country, because those motherfuckers was confused. Those police departments did not know what to do. They're not equipped for that. They're idiots. Let's be very clear. So we have to show up. We have to show up. We have to get in the streets. And we have to bring our friends with us. Because nothing is going to change if we don't. But I don't know. I'm gonna pass it to you, Saj, for the next story. Because we have been talking about this for a while.
Can I just say something about that real quick before we switch stories? I think, Afeni, that what's the answer for the people not being in the streets, even seeing a video like this, is that as an observation, as an outsider, because as Sabi pointed really well, there is no sense of community in America. And we outsiders will always be outsiders. We will always be asked, so if you don't like it here, what are you doing here? Why is this lady speaking in such manner? Why this ignorant Cuban chick, like they told Nick, I'm ignorant Cuban chicks talking like that. But anyways, the ignorant Cuban chick, Brazilian, by the way. The observation that I have as an outsider is that the American society is anesthetized by the illusion of freedom. And what is the illusion of freedom? Is work yourself to death So you're going to buy stuff and we're not going to mess with you. I mean, unless you're a person of color, then we will mess with you, even if you're doing your homework all the time, right? And that this illusion of freedom that like I can go into a mortgage and I'm going to buy my house, because there is the pillars of the American society, right? You get married, you have kids, and you buy you start a mortgage and you buy a house and you accomplish the stuff in life, right? It's stuff, material stuff. And this illusion of freedom that the government of the white party, I've been calling white party because to me, the combination of Republicans and Democrats means white, because it's the party of white supremacy and it's one party. Let's just call it dog a dog. It's one party. And the illusion of freedom that the white party implants in American minds and bloods makes them fear anything better that could happen. Because it's propaganda in your mind telling you that freedom, real freedom is not good. And that's why there is the China, the enemy. They don't have freedom for nothing. What do we know about them? Because there is surveillance. We cannot communicate with them. We cannot learn from them, right? But the illusion of power, of freedom, is bringing us to that sense. And the general strike in the United States of America is not only a capitalist post-industrial revolution general strike. It's a general strike against the system that has been enslaving all of us as world. So the general strike here is the symbol of real freedom, because it doesn't matter if you have a job right now, you will strike. You will not buy products of companies that have employees striking against them. You will support, you will take for free the products of Kellogg's from supermarkets and donate it to people that are starving. So the general strike is the strike for freedom, is the strike against the system.
Still from corporations, not your comrades. But yeah, so we're gonna just take a slight pivot. Okay. So actually, Saz, I'm gonna let you host this story just because you probably have more context than I do. And I'll just do you want me to put your article up for you?
Sure.
Alrighty. All right, go Sabs.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Stacy Abrams is deciding to run for governor for Georgia again in 2022. I'm trying not to laugh. So, if you can scroll down to the first paragraph of Finney. Oh, baby, I can do that myself. Can I do that myself? Oh, no, I can't. All right. So Stacy Abrams launched a campaign for Georgia governor Wednesday with a pledge to fight for economic equality. Oh, hold on. Let me pull this up on my screen. I got eyes, but they're not that good. All right. Stacy Abrams is running for governor in Georgia for 2022. Stacy Abrams launched a campaign for Georgia governor Wednesday with a pledge to fight for economic equality and expand healthcare access, setting up a potential rematch against Republican Governor Brian Kemp in one of the nation's most competitive political backgrounds. The Democrat announced her campaign with a video that highlighted her work in the state since her narrow 2018 to defeat Kemp, along with the message that opportunity and success in Georgia should not be determined by your zip code, background, or access to power. Her decision, long expected by local Democrats, clears the way for what could be a titanic showdown between the two longtime political rivals. That is, if Kemp survives a fight for the GOP nomination first. Abrams lost to Kemp by less than 1.4 percentage points in 2018, the closest Georgia gubernatorial election in decades. And here they go with the identity politics. if Abram prevails, she would become the first Black governor in Georgia and the first Black woman elected governor in U.S. history. And that's the selling point that Democrats are going to use to try to get people to come out and vote for her. But I want to remind everyone that Stacy Abrams is very much a neoliberal. She's not progressive. She's not leftist. Just because she's Black doesn't mean she's on the left. She is very much corrupted. She also was one of the notable people who notably said that she believed Joe Biden against Tara Reid. So I just don't want people, and I have friends that live like in the Atlanta area in Georgia. I don't want what happened last time to happen again this time, where people get so wrapped up in the identity politics of the first Black this, the first Black that, and don't really pay attention to who Stacey Abrams actually is. And I'm going to open that up to the panel.
I mean, Stacey, she traded it in, though. I will say that Stacey Abrams definitely, she traded in her cord. She said, all right, y'all turned my state into a blue state, so I'm going to win, right? Yeah, I did what y'all asked me to do. Y'all asked me to get those 2 senators that y'all wanted elected. I did that. I did my part. Now it's time for y'all to do yours. But what Stacey doesn't realize is that the right is already out organizing all of our asses. Let's just be clear. Okay? There's no, like, I think that she has a chance of winning. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and say there's, like, no way. Like, I think she has a chance of winning just because, like, she did do a lot of really, good organizing around, like, voter rights and, getting people registered and stuff like that. But she's, like, like another Kamala Harris. She's nothing to be super excited about. And because she's another Kamala Harris, because she's not something to be super excited about, she's going to face a real challenge from the right. It's like, at what point is, the left, if there is any political infrastructure on the left, existing, because, they keep the people that are screaming from the shining towers keep telling us to trust the plan, trust the process. We just got to get all these people elected. But I don't really see a real hard ground effort to get real leftist, anti-imperialist, abolitionist, anti-racist, like womanist candidates. I don't see those people. I don't really see those people being elevated by the left also. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm trusting. I was told to trust the process, though. Hassan Piker and Sam Cedar yelled at me and said to trust the process to get everybody elected. So that's what I'm waiting for. But I don't really see the results. You see what I'm saying? So if there's not going to be a real challenge from the left, it's just going to be another ineffectual Democrat that sits atop of their ivory tower and does absolutely nothing. But at least she's Black, though.
I personally think that she's gonna lose by a further margin of what she had did before, for the simple fact that when about the stimulus checks, we can take this back to the stimulus checks. We can take this back, even the shit that Joe Biden didn't accomplish shines right back on her, because Georgia was they was really looking forward to that stuff. When she was out there, she was promising them things and, said we get these people in power or whatever. But not only did she lose not only did Joe Biden lose supporters, that would have supported her, she lost supporters because of her support of Joe Biden. So I think that's really going to take a toll on her. But I know Democrats are going to lose 2022 overall, period. It's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to lose so bad. And then 2024, more likely they're going to take the White House back. But this is just a cycle. And I'm only 29, but this like the third time this has happened in my lifetime. Like, it's a cycle now. And if I can see it, then I hope y'all can see it, because man, I'll tell you right now, you know, I'm sharp, but I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. And if y'all niggas ain't catching on, it's a problem.
And I just want to remind everybody too, if you think back to when it was Biden and Trump, Stacy Abrams mobilized people in the Atlanta metro to get non-voters to come out and vote. So that's why there was a lot of first-time voters, like in Georgia. She mobilized people to make that happen. And then at the end of the day, when Biden won, everyone was applauding Stacy Abrams and like, congrats to Stacy Abrams. She did such a great job. She deserves this award and yada, yada. But now you see, with what we just told you today, there was an end game. She was trying to get everybody out to come out and vote for Joe Biden to turn Georgia blue because she knew that she was going to run for governor again. So it would be a win-win for her. This is what I was trying to tell you guys. Nobody does this stuff. They don't do it just because or just out of the goodness of their heart. There's usually an end game down the line that we don't know about. I don't know like how well she's going to do this time. I know some people in Georgia are not happy that they came out as first-time voters and Joe Biden didn't deliver those $2,000 checks. So
shit, Stacy, they didn't do shit.
No. And this just goes to show you something too, because if she could mobilize people to do that, she could also mobilize people to come out and vote for Bernie Sanders. Do you see what I'm saying? Like some of these black leaders that we have that say they're for civil rights and all of that jazz. Why didn't any of those people, well, except for Cornel West, and we got to give props to Danny Glover, but you know what I'm talking about. Why didn't those people go out in their communities and mobilize people to come out and vote for Bernie Sanders the same way that they did for Joe Biden?
I think it's funny to just see how the white party uses tokenization like all the time, right? Stacy Abrams, the squad, AOC. I fell for that before. I was like, yes, we're going to change. And then I was like, oh, no, these are just actors. And how funny it would be if we could mobilize. I do not believe in electoral politics at all. But if we could mobilize everybody to 2022, just vote third party. If we could have the power to do that, like go door to door and like get people voting for not for the white party, voting for other, like whatever other party that exists, it would be amazing. It's a dream. Also, Kamala is an actor. She's like all colors possible. Like she's a.
I personally think we shouldn't tell anybody to vote until we become a juggernaut on the left, and these politicians have to come to our show in order to get to the left. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if they want to come over here and talk like this, and you better lead like us, you better be out here like we better know you. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. So I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I done told so many people. I done did 3-4 commercials for Bernie, the Green Party, and I done did all my chucking and driving. I'm done. Don't vote. Stop voting. You know, it took even I had the blinders on a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? But we all live and we learn, man. But don't vote until you actually
think
have a
like
voice.
the only problem with the non-voting, I'm all for non-voting. I'm an anarchist, for Christ's sakes. But the only problem with that is that the manipulation of the non-voting, as in there was 5 votes and we won. It happens already, right? It happens. We see it happen already with millions of people voting. With 5, we won, and this is going to be. So we should make it in a system, make it in a way that they will have to be like, okay, here's the deal. This is a dictatorship, and y'all are enslaved. We need to take their masks off in front of everybody. We need to get them naked, like the little story of the naked king. We need to do that in a way that they won't be able to lie anymore, because they are already not lying on our faces. All of us here in the chat and here in the stream, they are already like, they know we know, right? But we need to do that in a way that everybody that doesn't even know yet will, oh, wow. So that's what's happening. Because when we are in the streets, when we're doing with our part, they're like, oh, they're gangsters. They're burning buildings. Oh, they're non-voters. They don't. But if we get in a way, use their strategy against them, vote. But vote for third party. That's everybody. Just vote for this person. And let's see they getting elected. They won't. And then
third party can't make an impact. The third party candidate doesn't have to win. They just need to be able to take enough votes away from the Democrat side to wake Democrats up. I only saw that happen. Well, not with the Democrats. I saw it happen one time. Ross Perot, he was able to take enough votes away. That's why George Sr. didn't win a second term. He was supposed to win a second term, or he should have won a second term. But Ross Perot, him running as an independent, he was able to take away enough votes that George Sr. lost and Bill Clinton won. And I think we need to do something like that and have it affect Democrats instead, because I feel like I said, as long as you continue to go out and vote for them, they're never going to do anything. And until you get the money out, they're never going to do anything for any of us. It's all about the money. It's all about their donors. It's all about the corporations. They serve Wall Street. They don't serve us, even though they're supposed to serve us. So we need to, if you are going to vote, we got to put people in that are not attached to those. I personally feel like I interviewed a lot of candidates like back in the day, a lot of grassroots candidates, and everyone that I interviewed had like good intentions and really wants to go in and make a difference. The problem is that they get into the Democratic Party and they don't change the party changes them. So for me, if I vote, I'm going to vote third party. I don't know which party it's going to be per se, but I'm going to be voting for like third party candidates. That's what I'm doing going forward.
Yeah, I've been registered independent since 2018. So I can't even vote in Maryland primaries and none of that anyway. And like, you have to be a registered Democrat to vote in Maryland's primaries and stuff like that. So me personally, the next story will roll into why I'm a little apprehensive about voting. But the thing about it is I understand why people are like, oh, don't give up on the vote, like stuff like that. But my thing is if we're gonna continue to vote, there needs to be direct actions before that. Like, we need to scare the shit out of them before that. It needs to be, first we're going to general strike, then we're going to fuck some of your shit up. And then if you present policies to us that are efficient and sufficient for what we need, then maybe, just maybe, we'll stop fucking your shit up and vote for you. That needs to be the only negotiation for votes at this point. Hold that shit hostage, especially Black folks. Especially Black folks.
But Finny, you see how they did us with the $15, and then you see how we did them. We was like, well, bitch, who gonna make your burgers? And they was like, well, when the companies was like, well, shit, we got to get these niggas 15 or something.
$1,000 check, bro. That motherfucker went on TV, which in my country is actually like illegal. That's like buying votes. But he went on TV and he said, if y'all vote for me or for whoever I want you to vote for, I'm going to give you $2,000. Did you get $2,000? Because I don't know no citizen that got $2,000.
Yeah. I just, exactly what am I voting for? Because, I work for congressional candidate. I say this shit all the time. I keep it a whole stack. I'm a campaign manager. You see what I'm saying? But, like, what am I voting for? Like, exactly what am I voting for? Because y'all aren't presenting policies that actually make my life better. You're not raising my wages. My rent is sky motherfucking high. Okay. I'm about to be 26. I'm lucky enough to be on my mommy's health care for the next year, but after that is up, I have to pay for health care on top of my rent being high as fuck, and you're not raising my wages. What am I voting for? I'm gonna just continue to organize and do mutual aid. Like, I'm sorry. Like, we can organize to like, you leverage our vote. Okay. But just continuing to just give them for free just seems real itchy to me, very itchy.
So, can I ask you Americans a question? Because I really don't understand, and I kind of do not want to understand the electoral system in America. It's shady, it's shitty, it's dirty. It's made for corruption. But can I ask you, how does the third party work? Can hypothetically, if there were a group of people, could they bring in a candidate that is not actual a person? This is all hypothetical in a story, It's not actual a person. Actually, they don't exist, but they are a candidate. And could it exist a movement to vote for this candidate per se?
Well, someone ran as
a protest.
Someone ran as D's nuts one time. No, I'm serious. That wasn't like a couple years ago. Someone was D's nuts, like on the. You remember that, Rome?
But you see, the problem with third parties is right now, us as socialists and as communists, we don't have a concrete grip on them, I should say, because what is happening right now with the third party candidate, with the Green Party candidate, right now that got elected in Nevada, right? So it really don't matter what party you come from; they still work for. And it's all political theater until we actually have, like Afenia saying, until we actually are controlling these people and the way they move and demanding them to move this way.
If we don't have organized demands, then what the fuck are we doing here?
They're going to get around all these other elitists, all these other rich people. You're not around them anymore, so they're not threatened by you. They threatened by a whole nother power, you know what I'm saying? So we got to have a check on these people first. We got to have some type of alumni or whatever the hell you guys want to call it with these people, and then we move up together instead of sending somebody off with resources or our language and say go do good. Like, no, we need
because it would not be a real such interrupter. It would not be a real person. It's just that sometimes I keep on like wondering if we could shower these people with all kinds of protests, not just the old classic hitting the streets and fighting. And I mean, when we hit the streets in Brazil, we're not worried about the rubber bullets in our faces because we're hungry, right? And since people are numb here and they are not that hungry, that their skin is not so tough for the rubber bullets, but like, can we shower them with all kinds of protests? Like, create a candidate that's going to take votes away from the white party, meaning both Republican.
I mean, like what Afeni is doing right now, like instead of giving people someone to actually, give away money to, she's putting that money back into the neighborhood and stuff like that. So it's going to take for people, we got to take people back out of that voting system, put trust back in our own people. And then, you know what I'm saying? We can control our word. Everybody just isn't everywhere. So now we don't have people that's close to us that's still taking up for AOC or doing this and that and blah, blah, blah. Everybody is moving as a community. Everybody's moving as a block because we all have to come up together. But if we're gonna lead people to voting, it can be a slippery scope because some people can go into that, well, voting matters because this and that, and we have to do this, and we have to elect, blah, blah, and they're going to come after you just like how Hillary supporters are still mad about whatever the fuck. But I'd say take the people back for a minute. we are jumping the gun with the voting. We are still voting in a fascist nation. You know what I'm saying? No matter who your candidate is, we are still voting in a fascist nation, and they are just one person. They have no control over this whole party. They have no control over all these corporations that control America to this day. So even if they was to go into power with our language, our looks, our tongue, and talking like this and marching like that, it's nothing but political theater, because they can't make a change without change actually coming, you know, from but change actually come from the people. Like I was just saying to Afeni, a lot of cities are giving us $15, $25 an hour for fast food jobs because the people said it right after the Democrats denied it. And when we stood up, it's just little things like that. It's going to take a domino effect. So when you see people like Afeni on the streets, and she's clothing, feeding, got bags that can get you clean and make you smell good again, that shit has a domino effect, because people be like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. Like, she live around the corner. I knew her since she was a little girl. If she doing this, I can do this. And then it's gonna go like this. It might take longer than what we want, but what doesn't? You know what I'm saying? And if this is so easy, why isn't it done? Already. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think we got to take our people down a notch and take back our world. You know what I'm saying? And then revamp the system from police to the Senate to the House, whatever you guys want to call it. And then we can all vote for third party and whatever parties you guys want to make. But as long as these corporations control America, I don't think any voting will get anything done. Just like, I know people, well, local elections, blah, blah. Okay, but what is your police chiefs doing now? What is your mayors doing now? Right. All right. They upholding white supremacy. All right. Take the people back. And there you go. I'm done.
So
Oh, Josana. Oh no, Afeni. Oh no.
I want.
You breaking up.
Yeah,
Please repeat that.
Can y'all hear me now? Like, clearly? Okay. My bad. I live in a group home, y'all. Wi-Fi's weak. Anyway. But yeah, like, what the fuck was I just saying? The thought's gone now. So, forget it. Oh, abortion. No. So, I think it tied back into like this, the not voting conversation. Because here's the thing, right? They kept saying, oh my gosh, you need to vote. If you don't vote, we can't protect Roe v. Wade. We all voted. Where's the protection? They have a Democrat-controlled House, Senate, and President. Where's the protection? Y'all have not passed the George Floyd Policing Act, which was already milquetoast bullshit anyway. Okay, it was nothing. It was crumbs. Couldn't even pass the crumbs. Couldn't even get the crumbs through. Now we're about to witness time literally roll backwards under a democratically controlled House, Senate, and presidency. And you're telling me that I need to pull up for y'all to vote? Suck my you-know-what. Okay? I am not going to be fooled. As a Black woman who was lower income and had to get an abortion when I was like, I think I said like 21 to 22. Like, I was working hard. I still lived in my mom's house. I was a store manager, mind you. So it's not even like I had like a little so-so job. No, I was a store manager. And I literally had to make the calculation in my head. Like, if I can hardly feed myself right now, how am I going to feed a baby? How? And I had the privilege to have access to an abortion because I live around DC, and there are all types of like Planned Parenthoods and different types of women's clinics all around DC. But for the women that have to wait and do all of that other foolishness to get the abortion, to the point where they even they're trying to do this 15-week ban. I didn't know I was pregnant until I was I don't know, that was 2 or 3 months at that point. What? How? Well, if you don't show symptoms and you can't afford to have the baby, and again, 1 in 2 children in America that are under the age of 6 live in poverty, then exactly what am I to do? What am I to do? Because this isn't going to stop rich bitches from getting abortions. Rich bitches can get abortions because they can go wherever the fuck they want to get an abortion. They can get they can afford to get pills mailed to them and all the other shit. What about the good sis that works down at McDonald's down in Georgia making $7.25 an hour still? Because Georgia, they keep trying to fool you like it's a blue state. No, the fuck it is not. You don't think they're next to shorten their abortion laws? Oklahoma, all these other red states all up and down the coast. I mean, up down Midwest. Stop playing. Stop playing. And those women can't escape. I've lived in Kansas. Ain't shit around Kansas and Topeka. And if you ain't got a car, you're fucked. You can't get to a doctor. So you're expecting me to continue to vote for people that couldn't even do the simplest shit and codify Roe v. Wade? Suck my ass. No, thank you. No, thank you. But, I don't know if y'all want to. Who's next?
I don't want to talk about this too much. All I'm going to say, I want to dip out because I don't think this is my thing to even comment on, as a man. All I'm going to say is, as a man, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You don't I'm a father. I'm a sperm donor. Shut the fuck up. I'd have been through. I have 8 sisters. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers. From my mother. My family is big, and we have nothing but women in our family, and y'all don't know what the hell they like. Y'all don't know. Even if you don't, as a man, as a trans man, or wherever your thing is, shut the fuck up. If you can't have babies, shut the fuck up. Because this shit, it really, not only people be like, oh, well, it fucks women physically and they can down. And not only that, you forgot about the postpartum, the depression, and you guys don't know. You have no idea. So shut the fuck up, because I don't even have no idea. Only reason why I know is because of my 5 sisters and women around me, like these beautiful women right here in this panel. That's the only reason why I know so much. But and as far as Roe v. Wade, I'm gonna say
trans men can have babies, by the way. So
trans men.
There are trans men that give birth.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
they have a voice in this conversation.
Yeah. And as far as the bill Roe v. Wade, it was racist overall. I think it should be rewritten and just redone, updated, especially with so much going on right now. Just like how what Afeni just said, I think it should be updated. So yes, even what was her name? RBG, whatever the hell these people want to call her. She was racist as hell. She even said, like, hold on, why y'all mad? I thought y'all didn't want the brown and blacks to have babies. Yeah, that's what it was about. But a lot of people really benefit off of it. So I'm not going to just shit on it all together. I'm going to say most of the bills in America it's just fucking written racist. But I'm out, and this is just not my thing. That's all I have to say. I love you.
Saz, I know you have to leave, and we're about to end the show anyway. So
got to go. Good show, guys. Good show. I just, in reference to Roe v. the whole abortion thing, again, I feel like it's one of those issues that Republicans and Democrats use to keep us divided. It's one of those issues that if you take it away, if you remove that and that wasn't an issue, more people would be able to see the class divide. That is, the class is the issue that we really need to be focusing on. But a lot of us can't focus on it because they distract us with all these other issues. So I just feel like it's sad that it's 2021 and they're still trying to control women's bodies. And this is nothing but a complete system of control. That what I fear is that this alone doesn't prevent women from having abortions. There's a mini series I watched a long time ago called If These Walls Could Talk. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch that. And it's about this very issue. Different generations of women having to deal with the whole abortion thing, going all the way back to when they didn't have abortion clinics. So what happens is, even though they put these laws in place, that doesn't prevent women from having abortions. What will happen is that women will still go have them, but they'll do them. Some people used to call them back alley abortions. And those are incredibly unsafe. And that is the problem. Like, this is crazy to me. For the people who come back, the naysayers, and say, well, why don't those women just have the baby and put the child up for adoption? There's a couple reasons for that. Number one, first of all, I have known a couple of people that have been adopted. Talk to people who have been adopted about what it's like being adopted, not knowing who your real mom is, who your real dad is, trying to find them and never being able to find them. Talk to people like that first. Second of all, if you're carrying the child 9 months, you still have to pay for all the medical expenses. You still have to pay for the doctor visits. If you don't have health insurance, if you don't have health care, you still have to pay for all those things. You still have to physically have the baby, and there's a hospital bill from hell for that. So if somebody tells you that they can't afford to do it, that's what I want you to keep in mind. It's not just the money that you need to raise the child. It's the money that you need to actually go through all the medical things that you have to do those 9 months. Having a baby is not cheap. So it's just something that people really need to think about. And I'll leave on this note as well. There was a time in this country when abortion was not a part of the Republican Party's platform. In fact, there was a time in this country when Catholic priests actually used to perform abortions. Republican Party made it a part of their platform in order to get the evangelicals to join with the Republican Party. A lot of people don't know that. And it's important that you share that message with people. When people say, well, it's for religious reasons, you let them know that there was a time in this country when Catholic priests used to do abortions. That's all I got. I'm out.
All right. Bye, Rome. Bye, Sabby.
Peace.
I'm going to say Josana was a good song. And then there was 2. I can't hear you, babes.
Okay, awesome. I was worried. I put in the chat. I was worried that like it got lost in translation. I'm not at all in favor of electoral politics. I'm just trying to find ways to destroy, abolish, and overthrow the government that assassinates, tortures, kills, rapes children every single day. And when it takes to women taking decisions over their own bodies, calls itself pro-life, right? Because there are children in cages in the soil here. We talked about that in your show once, remember? And Central America, South America, indigenous children can be being tortured and abused every day. But a woman, a poor Black woman, cannot take the decision over her own body. So when I say like, let's create an imaginary candidate, and like, it's just like thinking in ways to like overthrow and destroy the empire. That's needed. We need to overthrow and destroy the empire. We're getting more and more pushed and pressured.
Yeah, and I just want to be very clear, like, you know, abortions are not fun procedures. Like, and women all over, all like not even just in America, but like there's a really mass movement in Mexico for like for the same thing, women's reproductive rights. Abortions are not easy decisions to make. I can tell you that, you know, I'm not going to say there's no women out there that, you know, have serial abortions. I don't know, you know, and if she doing that, that's her motherfucking business. You hear me? But like, you know, I can tell you though that a lot of women that get abortions probably either medically need them, financially need them, or the bitch ain't want a baby because babies are expensive and stressful. Like, I don't understand. And I will be very clear, like I mourned because it was a very physically taxing experience. But at the end of the day, it was the best decision that I could have made for me and for whatever unborn child, whatever y'all want to call it, zygotes, little cells, whatever. That thing was going to grow into a baby that was about to be a child, that was going to be an adult, that would have been very fucked up if they had to experience the trauma of poverty. And unfortunately, with my broke ass, that's where we would have been at. So, hey, I don't understand. And before, morally, I was pro-life for myself. Like before that, I really said like, oh, I can never have an abortion. But it never crossed my mind to say none of these bitches can have abortions. Like, y'all are doing too much. Okay. So I want to say that y'all are doing too fucking much. And when I had to come to that decision, it was not an easy one, but it's also one that I will never regret. So
yeah. And I just wanted to bring that perspective. In Brazil, it's not legal to have an abortion. How many friends I have that had to have abortions, and they had to buy if it's in the beginning, they have to buy the medicine from the drug dealers. One. Second, how many women, I wish I had the numbers here right now, the receipts to show you how many women suffer violence, are raped by the doctors that do abortions illegally. So like the story on making abortion illegal will only be harmful for the women. In a misogynistic world, that's perfect, right? The world hates us so much that they want to inflict more torture upon us. Who are us to decide what we want to do with our own bodies? We shouldn't be able to do so. We're women. We should wait for the master to tell us what to do.
You know? But yes. All right, y'all. We are getting out of here. Thank y'all so much for being a part of the show. Thank you so much for all of your really nice comments. I missed y'all as well. But yeah, you know, mind your fucking business. Like, give us healthcare, give us our checks, give us housing. Mind your fucking business. It's that
Amen.
simple. But yeah, y'all. All right, we'll catch you on the flip. See y'all later.
Bye.